Hi, and welcome. I just posted something over on Instagram saying hello to the new people who joined. And there's a lot of new people who joined this channel as well. And we had over 1,000 subscribers a few months ago. And I was so busy with moving that I had my own private little moment of being thrilled and excited and surprised. But I didn't have a chance to thank you for joining, for being here, for subscribing, for being interested in Shivambu, in exploring this part of who you are and how your body functions. And I'm really pleased that you're here. So I wanted to actually thank you for being here and saying that I notice the comments and I read the comments. Sometimes I have time to answer them and then I go through sort of a flurry, and other times in between I don't have as much time to answer questions. I am a practitioner and I help facilitate people who are interested in learning about Shivambu, but I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not trained in medical fields, and I don't offer medical advice of any kind. What I do is talk about Shivambu, about the history, the philosophy, the practices, what we've learned from the people who've gone before us, the wisdom that has been shared with the people who have tried this before and over thousands of years, because we have very old documents and stories and images and all sorts of information. And then we have newer pieces that we are sharing with each other in real time. But it's all about each person sharing what they've learned. And Shivambu is such a dynamic and individual thing. You change from moment to moment. And so does your Shivambu. And this is part of why it is a deeply personal practice. And no one else can tell you how to do it, what's going to happen when you do engage with it. And this is also part of the value of community, which I'm assuming is partially why you're here, why you've subscribed, why you're part of this channel and part of the community in that sense, because there is a desire for more information and a desire to connect with other people. And also, it's a very hard space to connect with other people because probably in your daily life, it's not a topic you can bring up with friends, neighbors, someone you meet for coffee occasionally, colleagues. It's it elicits either complete disinterest or shock and horror. And yet, those of us who've been doing it for a long time start to see it as very normal. And this is part of what's so interesting about this practice, is that it becomes so normal to work with the body this way and understand yourself this way and to build a deeper relationship with the self. And this is what makes me come back to it over and over again with new people. My own practice, I'm always amazed at it. Even after all the years that I've been doing it, I am always learning about my body, myself, my spiritual practice. It is a spiritual practice for me. And a lot of people start with Shivambu as a very physical 3D world. They have a skin problem or a digestion issue or headaches or their eyes are bothering them or whatever it is. And they've seen or read something about Shivambu that makes them think it's going to help. And so they need help. They need immediate help and they want to try this practice they've heard about. And sometimes that's exactly what happens. That the thing that they're looking for, that Shivambu helps to balance and to help the system find a new balance. And sometimes that thing takes a little longer, but something else starts to happen. And over time, for people who stay with it and have consistency in the practice of some kind, we start to see deeper shifts and changes. And people talk about feeling closer to themselves, more connected to themselves, that they're calmer, less anxiety. There's all sorts of things that people report. And this is part of where we learn from each other, because what I experience is going to be very different from the next person. And it's only when we put all of our experiences together that we start to see the complete mosaic, that we start to see the complete picture of what each of us understands as feeling whole, feeling complete, feeling that we are self-supported and self-sustaining, and that we have a foundation from within that we can come back to. And so really this practice is about building relationship with the self. in a deeply personal way. And that takes time. And so hopefully it takes you a little bit of time to get through all the videos that I have posted on this channel. Over on my Instagram, if you're on Instagram, I have short things and I have some videos, short videos mostly, and I have some other posts with just some general information in them if you've never been over there. And but this is YouTube's where I do most of what I put up. And this is where I also generally post about the free Q&A call that I do once a month. If you want to get on the list for the Q&A call, you can get in touch with me and give me your email and I'll put you on the email list. That's where I send it out once a month. And the other thing that I do is I run a community. And this community is a 1-year commitment because I have seen over and over again in the work that I've done. I've been teaching people about Shivambu for over 6-7 years, but I've been teaching courses for 5 years. And I've seen over and over again that it takes at least a year for people to start to settle into some of the practices and to be able to look back and see what's changed, what has shifted in them, how they have become different. It often takes 2 years before there is an even deeper commitment and shift in people. And so this is not a short-term thing. And the best way for someone to really see how far they've come, what has happened, is for them to give themselves time. Now, you can do that on your own. You don't need to join a community to do that. The community is there because this is a hard thing to talk about in public, because you can feel a little crazy sometimes going, what am I doing? Is this going to work? Has anyone tried this? What should I know? Are there any tips and tricks? And just being able to say words out loud and have people go, yeah, I know what you're talking about, means so much. I hear this over and over and over again in the community, that it's being able to talk to other people about what's going on that makes the biggest difference in their Shivambu practice over time. So that's why to join a community, if that's what you want to be able to do, is to be around other people doing this, to ask questions. If you want to know what I mean by the community, you can get in touch. We can book a little chat and a free chat, and I can show you what the community looks like. And if it fits what you're looking for, then you'll know. And when I started doing this, I had no community to go back to. So it's absolutely possible to do this by reading books, finding free videos, finding the free communities online in Facebook and Telegram. There's lots of free information, lots of it. I found it and I worked with it, and it got me through the different places that I needed to get through to build a practice. And now I offer the community that wasn't there when I was starting, but it doesn't mean you need to do that kind of thing. If you want to, that's what I offer. And the people in my community are wonderful. They're generous, they're giving, they're committed. They share deeply from their own experience. They're incredibly genuine, and I really value what they bring. And I learn from them too, because everyone's body is so different. And that's one of the biggest things that we do in this community, is that we each talk about how we're building our own relationship to ourselves, and how each of us does that is unique and different. The other thing I should mention is I have been asked about what else I offer. And besides the free monthly calls and the year-long community, I will be offering a deep dive 1-year course. I wanted to get that up in 2026, but it turns out that getting married and moving continents takes a lot more time, effort, and administration than I thought it would. And it just takes a while to settle and find your feet and remember all the things that you forgot along the way. So it will probably start at the beginning of 2027. So there's a good chance that we could get people into the community and get them settled with the information before we start the course. And for people who really want to do a deep dive with me and go into history, philosophy, practices of Shivambu, current research, how we look at research and figure out whether it's going to help us with Shivambu anymore. I research about Shivambu every day. That's part of what I do, is I read academic articles and journal articles and see if there's a reference point that will help us understand Shivambu better. These articles are not about people who practice with Shivambu. There are no studies on that because there's no money in that. But we can take an article on melatonin and look at how that could be relevant to the practice of Shivambu, and look at how so many people who start using Shivambu say their sleep improves. Their circadian rhythm is different. So could that be related? Because we know that melatonin molecules are detectable in human urine. So it's not that we have a proof, there is no proof of anything, but how could we use the research that's being done in the world to better understand the holistic, complete vision of why is it that when people work with Shivambu, they report significant changes in their experience of their body. And we can do that together in the community. And that's part of what I love to do, and part of what's really exciting about being in a group who are all doing this practice, who are interested, who are committed, who want to experiment and come back and talk to each other about it. So there's a little bit of an update, and a big thank you for joining me, for being here, for being interested in this topic, for being willing to subscribe, because even that, I know that's linking your name to a page that talks about this. And so I've gotten a little bit used to talking about this in public, but it doesn't mean that it's easy for everybody. And it takes some time. We're at the beginning. We're at the beginning of helping to teach society about this ancient, incredible medicine that's inside all of us and has always been there, and that humans have always known about through time. And I'm glad that you're here with me. So thank you for being here. Thank you for bringing us up over 1,000 people on this little channel. I'm really amazed. I'm really pleased. And I'm very grateful. So thank you very much. Wishing you an absolutely fantastic week.